This is KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications. This is KHQA. It's your news now.
And this is Saturday, April the 18th, and you have indeed entered overtime, where my good friend and faithful assistant Will Wilson is taking some much-needed, hard-earned vacation time this weekend, and few are more deserving considering his slave driver of a boss, that bald such and such, but I digress. So I, myself, was a man in constant motion today, trying to give you as much local sports goodness tonight as one guy with a singular camera, easy for me to say, could. Coming up, we've got a special honor to tell you about for one of the most deservedly esteemed members of the tri-state sports media, the great Brad Boyer of regional radio. Plus, we check in with a Hannibal golf squad and a local softball pitcher who nearly pulled off doubleheader box score nirvana today down in Barrie. But we start tonight with a pivotal series for the Quincy University Hawk baseball team, maybe more pivotal for Drury. As the Drury media press release pointed out this week, the Hawks haven't been particularly good at home this season. Call it bulletin board material as the Hawks went to work. Sporting a 5-1 lead, Mark Niebrugge really good on the hill today, shutting things down. Hawks later in the sixth inning, up 5-3 in this one. Justin Bleckley going to double right here off the wall, and that would set the table for run number 6 of the ball game. It comes courtesy of Gordon Gundaker, who's going to step to the plate right here and just lace a little flare right over second base. And that, my friends, extends the lead out to 6-3. Niebrugge would need little more than that. Pitched 8 full innings in the opener of this doubleheader. Struck out 5, allowed just 6 hits, and those 3 runs en route to a victory. Take that, can't win at home, Hawks, as QU gets it done today by the final count of 6-3 in the first game. And just for good measure, make it a sweep for Quincy University as the Hawks close things out in game number 2 by a 3-1 count. So a great start to the weekend for Josh Raby's crew. Elsewhere on the docket today, John Wood really good at the expense of Lewis and Clark on the road. Sal Martirano with a one-hitter in game number 1 in the shutout, and Matt Priest in the second game, which turned out to be a 7-5 victory for the Blazers, missed the cycle by only the home run as John Wood gets the victory there. Final count, as I said, 7-5. Tough weekend continuing for Western Illinois as the Leathernecks lose at Fort Wayne 7-1. Western now 5-13 in Summit League play on the season. Mo Valley doing the business today to Culver Stockton, taking a pair 5-1 and 15-6 were your finals there. Also, Hannibal LaGrange not faring much better against Lindenwood Belleville, getting swept today 5-1 and 10-3 were your finals. How about some softball scores? Tough road trip for Quincy University continues as they drop a 7-1 and 8-0 decision. John Wood bounces back, though, nicely after some heartbreak yesterday. Hannah Reller, the Quincy High product, goes big time in the first game against Lincoln. 4 for 5 on the day, a double and a couple of stolen bases. She does that as well as anybody in JUCO softball right now, stealing bases, so she continues to add to that total. Also today, John Wood, a big-time winner over Lincoln in the second game as well, 9-7 to complete the sweep. Central Methodist today, knocking off Culver Stockton 5-0 and 10-5. Kim Myers, though, with another home run to her outstanding cause this season, a 3-run jack. She goes 2 for 3 at the plate in that ball game. Truman State, though, on the road today, taking care of Bellarmine, the local products, showing out well in these ball games. Kendra Hens in game number 2 picked up her 15th victory of the season. And in game number 1 of the day, it was Kelsey Dorsey, the pride of Clopton High School, with a shutout. Actually, check that. She pitched the complete game. She did not allow an earned run, but she did get the victory today. 2-1 was your final there as well. Now, in the high school diamond docket, the order of business was determining how previously unbeaten Scotland County would respond to its first loss of the season. The Tigers' chance for atonement today came at the Knox County tournament, and I'd say Daniel Burns' team acquitted itself quite competently in the championship game, taking out Novinger 13-3. Justin McKee goes the distance. A complete game 2 hitter also did the deed at the plate today, going 2 for 3 there. Sorry we don't have highlights of this one for you. The tournament was running about 90 minutes behind, and the weather was looking a little dicey, so congratulations to the Scotland County Tigers. We do have third place action today between Paris and Knox County. This was a good one. Paris loads the bases early. Tucker Gruber tries to score on the pass ball, but Seti Boone, Joey McCauley too quick for that. Great glove work there. And then the Coyotes would plate 2, or the Coyotes, I should say, would plate 2 in the frame on Briar Hancock's infield single and the subsequent throwaway. Knox County, though, erupts in the bottom of the first. Mr. Preby, 2-run rip to right. That gets things kind of going as the Eagles would build a 5-2 lead. Paris trying to recover. Oh, the Eagles defense was nasty in the early going in this one. How about the 5-3-6 double play to get out of things? You don't see that very often, but it worked very effectively right here, as that inning and that threat by the Paris Coyotes was effectively nullified. Knox County then would extend. How about a little Nick Edwards right here with the RBI double to kind of set things up, and that would continue to build the lead. Actually, right here, though, Paris comes back to within 5-4. That is Lane Forrest with a beautiful shot. He's not just a great wide receiver. Now here comes Knox County, extending their lead to 7-4. This is Nick Edwards with the RBI single, and then Corey Mowbray going to step up and do the sack fly thing to give his team as I mentioned, a pretty sizable lead in this one. But Paris would come back, roaring back in the next frame with 5 runs in the top of the fourth. It would start in this one with Colin Cook doing his thing right here. Great piece of hitting to kind of break things open right here. Then later it's Slater Stone himself, a very good football player. None too shabby on the baseball diamond as well, as he's going to live and make a living in left field with a beautiful shot right here to score a couple more. Paris builds a 9-5 lead, never looks back in this ball game. Paris Coyotes take third place in this one, winning 12-7 was your final there. Let's do some more baseball. We've got action for you over on the other side of the river. Let's take you to the highlights of Western and Southeastern today. Dave Swicegood's Suns trying to break into the win column today. Western having none of it. Donovan Schwanke right here with the RBI double to kind of set things off. The lead already 5-1 at this point and growing quickly for the Western Wildcats. Then it's Noah Lynch. Man, this kid can flat hit. He's going to fist a single right here out into short left field and then increase the chances by inducing the throw to second. That actually allows a run to score and actually extends Western's lead at that point to 7-1. Brody Eddington trying to bring the Suns back in this one. They get their first run coming up in here right after a Winston Smith triple, thanks to Eddington put the ball in play, but Western just too much on this day. They end up pulling off the victory in this one and getting the victory, keeping the Southeastern Suns winless on the season. Elsewhere on the docket today, QD a big-time winner over Jacksonville route. Jacob Becker with a complete game victory on the hill there. On the road in the Quad Cities, a rough day for the Quincy High Blue Devils. They lose a 6-2 decision in the first game and then get housed in the second, 20-0. Triopia today winning at home over Edinburgh, 10-3 your final there. I believe that's win number 11 on the season for Rich Thompson's crew. Beardstown with a sweep of the Sparklones today. Marcus Bowser really good at the plate in game number 1, and then Mr. Bowser comes in relief in game 2, picks up the save there as well. Also, Camp Point Central rolling past Monrose in game number 1 behind a couple of ribbies from Taylor Hyman. Game number 2 went the other direction on the Panthers as they end up losing that one by the final count of 6-4. Let's do a little golf today. Hannibal Invitational at Norwoods. You're looking at Tanner Cook after flubbing an approach shot on number 1. He makes up for it here, getting up and down neatly to save par. Had about 3 feet right there, and then Mr. Cook would just sink that down to secure the par to start his round on the par 5. Cook on 2, missing the green just to the left side, to the short side, but look at him with a nice chip right there, setting up another par. And then on number 3, his approach shot magnificent to within 4 feet. This was the easy birdie for Mr. Cook, who ended up shooting a 77 on the day. Playing right behind him, Trevor Watson, also the Hannibal Pirates. 15-footer for birdie on number 1. Curls just short, but Mr. Watson just played consistently all day long. From the caller on number 2, going to end up cleaning up nicely again to save par. Ended up with a 77 as well today as the Hannibal Pirates take a second-place team finish in their own event, 3 strokes behind the Mexico Bulldogs. So good day for the Pirate Golf Squad as they kind of bounce back from a rough week. Third place today went to Helias, and the Highland Cougars were your next lowest local team, firing a 397 on the day. A couple of notes to pass along on this busy day as well. In tennis today, at the Moline Invitational, your only medalist for the Quincy High Blue Devils, Andrew Fauble, who wins the consolation title in number 1 singles. And another great day for the Hannibal boys track and field team down at Reed Stadium in Jefferson City as the Hannibal boys take second place in a loaded meet as a team. And Tanner Teagan ends up taking first place, the championship in the pole vault. So congratulations to all of them. And we're just getting warmed up here on the Big Overtime Show. When I return, Carly Jo Hively doing wonderful things for the Western softball team. You're not going to believe her stat line. That when overtime continues.
You're watching KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications.
And welcome back to Overtime, everybody. Pitching dominance, thy name is Carly Jo. Carly Jo Hively, to be precise. This afternoon, the Western Lady Wildcat hurler worked both ends of a doubleheader against Southeastern and put together a pitching line that is one for the ages. In Game 1, a 15-0 win over the Suns, Carly Jo doled out a perfect game. She was working game number 2 as well and working it magnificently in this one. What a great start for her, striking people out right and left. However, here was the one moment of imperfection in an otherwise perfect day. Randall Smith ends the scoring drought, the bid for a second no-hitter, and the shutout in one swing of the bat. Nice piece of work. She went low in the strike zone to drive that run in, but that would be the only hit, the only run, the only mistake all day long that Carly Jo would make. More on her in a second. Western roars back, though, right here. Faith Erkey with the infield single to start another rally. Then it's Kaylin McKee, the hot smash, which plates Miss Erkey at that point. More to come in this one. Cammie Utterback, who would later deliver a 3-run homer. Nearly homers right here, just shy of leaving the yard. That drives home another run. Then Danita Ash going to step to the plate. Nice work from her, ripping a double into the dead corner. That's a great piece of hitting as well. And we're not quite done yet with the Western offense. Tori Weir stepping to the plate. She's going to continue the onslaught in this one. Great piece of hitting from her, as it would be a 10-1 lead when I left at that point. One hitter in the second game for Carly Jo Hively. Great piece of pitching to go along with that perfect game today. One hit in all those innings she worked today. Phenomenal job. That's a name to remember. Good-looking young pitcher, as Western wins today by the final count of 13-1 in that second game. On to the scoreboard today. A really tough day at home against a really good opponent for the Quincy Blue Devils, as they end up getting shut out in both games. 19-0 in the first one and 16-0 in the second one. Let's talk a little bit of better softball news, though. How about the Central Lady Panthers? That pitching combination of J.C. Knoll right now and Breg Genenbacher, really, really good, as they shut down Monrose twice to the Panthers. 15-3 in the first game, 10-0 in the second, which means Central on the season is undefeated in conference play. Also a huge win for Travis Dinkheller and the Quincy High soccer team, which comes back from a 2-0 deficit, scoring 3 goals on the powerhouse Davenport Assumption squad in the second half to get this thing done. Mackenzie Bailey, your golden goal late in this one, scored off a couple of corner kicks I read off Twitter. What a great day for the Blue Devils. I don't think a lot of people expected them to pull off this victory. Maybe this is the offensive turning point that Travis Dinkheller has been looking for. His team's starting to play better and better, so this is a really nice sign for the Blue Devils. Also today at the Hannibal Tournament, rough weekend for the Lady Pirates as they end up losing to Maryville 3-0, your final there. They do bounce back and win a game later in the day, but 1-2 on the weekend for Eric Hill's squad, which will try to regain some traction coming up with the rest of the week. Time now for your Con Communication Connection, and it comes to us this week from Southeast Iowa. Nominee number 3 of the month, provided by this young lady who has been scoring goals by the bushel. We're calling it a riffle shot, like a rifle shot, only delivered by Alicia Riffle, who goes and curls this upper 90 into the back corner. Good for her, as the KHQA soccer team has begun to find some nice traction and do some really nice things. That's a group you need to keep an eye on, as they're starting to play some good soccer down the stretches late. Now, that's nominee number 3. At the end of the month, you'll have your chance to vote for your favorite. The first 2 nominees came to us this month from the Baseball Diamond. Justin Tallman with a home run at Palmyra that kind of cleared the spectators out of the outfield, I should say. And Bryn Martinez, the outstanding Quincy University shortstop, with his diving snare. So 3 pretty darn good quality offerings early on in the month of April for you to consider. And again, when you vote, if you vote, you have a chance online at KHQA.com to win a prize package from Con Communications. Again, more Overtime coming your way in just a second as we pay homage to one of my colleagues in the media business with a huge honor facing them next week. That story coming up next. And welcome back to Overtime, everybody. The first time I heard Brad Boyer's voice on radio some 20 years ago, I was a college student at the University of Missouri, and I stumbled across End Zone on Crest quite by accident. All I could think of at the time was, this is everything that high school sports should be, and what is a guy with this kind of talent doing broadcasting out here seemingly in the middle of nowhere? Well, Friday nights in Northeast Missouri aren't complete without Brad's voice closing shop on a week of high school football. And for 20 years, he has been the undisputed, unparalleled voice of Truman State athletics. Those are resonant career achievements, and now one's underscored by an even rarer honor coming this Friday. Earlier this month, the Missouri Basketball Coaches Association announced that Brad will be inducted as a media member, very rare, into that organization's, Hall of Fame in Springfield, Missouri. An award Brad himself calls humbling. I'd argue it's not only well-deserved, but a credit to all that local media should strive to be.
Just local community radio and sports is a huge part of that, and that's kind of what we do around here. And so the interactions, the relationships that I've gotten to forge over the years with coaches, with administrators, with fans going out to the games, you know that. I mean, that's the neat part of the business that I'm involved in, is getting to know, and I've heard from so many since this announcement has been made, and I think that's been even more thrilling and exciting for me, is just the neat relationships that I've had, and I've heard from many of these people in recent weeks. And you know, if our stations have done something that's touched lives, well, that's a cool thing.
You obviously, I mean, I think with your talent, you could have worked anywhere. How important and how special is it?
Which brings me back to my original point. Brad Boyer could have worked in any radio market in the country, but he's devoted his life to Northeast Missouri, and he wouldn't have had it any other way.
You know, I've thought about, could I have gone somewhere else, but I would not have traded it, Chris, for the experiences that I've had in working and getting to know people. And the other thing I would add is just raising a family in this area and community, and the importance of that. Not many people get to call their own kids' games, and that has been a huge thrill for me to, you know, to experience that, to get to call my son, my daughter's games, and experience it from that angle. Not many people get to do that and share in that way.
Pretty blessed around here to get to listen to Brad Boyer, Donnie Middleton. I tell you what, Northeast Missouri is certainly a gold mine for wonderful radio people and sports people in general, and those two guys set the bar. Congratulations to Brad. Can't think of a finer gentleman or a more deserving person in our thing to get this award. So congratulations to you, Brad, and we'll have more overtime for you coming up after this.
10 $100 bills add up to
$1,000.
$500 multiplied by 2 equals
$1,000.
A equals $250 and B equals $750. A plus B equals
$1,000.
Many different equations will get $1,000, but for teachers and administrators, the math is easy. Just go to KHQA.com and fill out the one class at a time application to explain why your classroom or school could use $1,000. Brought to you by Continental Cement, Green America Recycling, Dean Lamkin Honda and Hyundai, Titan International, and KHQA.
Anyone can get service in town, but US Cellular offers 4G LTE where you just wouldn't expect it. So you can watch your shows, stream your music, or check Facebook. Way out here. Pretty awesome, huh? With US Cellular, now the middle of nowhere is the middle of anywhere.
At Con Communications, we make life easier. Stop in today and let us show you how. Con Communications, connecting your life.
Hi folks, North Clark for Rose City Motors. You're thinking about buying yourself a vehicle, but you're credit challenged. The last thing you need to do is go out and buy a car with 150,000 miles on it, 10 years old. That's going to get you nowheres. Smart way. Go to rosecitymotors.com. Fill out a credit app. Pick a vehicle out, 1, 2, 3, 4 years old, under 50,000 miles.